Hello everyone, and welcome back to mountmoontcg. Well, by the time this video comes out, it's going to be the first day of the 2023 Pokemon World Championships. So this video is going to tell you everything you need to know about that event that's taking place this weekend in Yokohama, Japan. So first things first, we're going to discuss, where you can watch the Pokemon World Championships. And I got that on my little notepad right here. So since the event is taking place in Japan and time zones are a thing, Japan is 16, 14 hours ahead of wherever you are in the US. It could be in the UK, it could be anywhere else in the world. But just keep in mind that the tournament is starting 9 o'clock a.m. in Japan. So wherever your time zone is, please do take an account for how that affects you and when you can watch it. So the times I got here on my notepad here are Pacific Daylight Time. So that would be like California, Oregon, those kinds of states on the Pacific side of the United States. So it starts Thursday, 5 p.m. to 4:30 a.m. So yeah, if you want to watch all the Pokemon World Championships, it's going to be a late night. So 5 p.m. to 4:30 a.m. and this is for the TCG. And then Friday night, 5 p.m. to 6 a.m. on Saturday. Saturday, the finals are 6 p.m. to 10 p.m. and that is all three divisions. And then the closing ceremony would be Sunday morning, 1 a.m. to 1:30 a.m. So, yeah, it's going to be kind of a lot of late nights if you want to watch the Pokemon World Championships in its entirety. So you can watch the Pokemon World Championships on twitch.tv / Pokemon TCG. Now, if you want to watch the Pokemon video game, it would be twitch.tv / Pokemon VG, I believe. And then there's also events like there's Pokemon Go. There's also Pokemon Unite. And I think that's it. I think it's just the big four. It's trading card game, video game, Pokemon Go, and Pokemon Unite. I don't think I'm missing anything. But yeah, I think those are the big four. So now that we got out of the way, where and what times you're going to be watching the Pokemon Trading Card Game World Championships, or video game, whatever you want to be watching. So I'm going to talk about a couple of decks that I think are going to do very well at the Pokemon World Championships. So first off, let's discuss Gardevoir EX. So Gardevoir EX has been making a huge impact on the standard format. It is probably the best deck in format in my opinion. It's something that you're going to be seeing on stream a whole bunch of times. It is a very popular deck because Gardevoir EX has a very good ability which brings Psychic Energy from the discard pile to any of your Psychic Pokemon on the field, but you got to put some damage counters on them. So it's a quick way to power up some Pokemon to, do a lot of damage with cards like Gardevoir EX, Zacian V, the regular, the Shining Arcana Gardevoir, things like that. This deck can hit for big numbers, and it takes advantage of cards like Battle VIP Pass to get your Pokemon in play as fast as possible. There's the Kirlia that you can discard a card to draw 2 cards. The Shining Arcana Gardevoir. Look at the top 2 cards. If there's Psychic Energy, attach them anywhere on your field. Yeah, Gardevoir is going to be a very popular deck, so look forward to that on stream if you're not sick of Gardevoir, like I am a little bit. But next, we're going to talk about Lost Box. Now, there's so many different ways you can play Lost Box decks. You can play it with Kyogre. You can play it with cards like Dragonite V and Raikou V. Lost Box, you can play with a Giratina, you can play with Goodra. There's many different ways to play Lost Box decks. But I think the best one is probably a Lost Box with Dragonite V Raikou. I think that is probably the most popular version of Lost Box. And I think it's going to do pretty well because, Lost Box is a very annoying deck. It uses cards like Comfy to look at the top 2, put one in the Lost Zone, put one in your hand. Colossus Experiment to look at the top 5 cards of your deck, put 3 into your hand, put 2 in the Lost Zone. And essentially the strategy of Lost Zone decks is to put so many cards in the Lost Zone and then take advantage of cards like, Mirage Gate to put a lot of energy into play. Sableye, if there's, 10 cards in the Lost Zone, you can attack with it. Things in that order. It's a very annoying deck, so it should be doing very well at the Pokemon World Championships. So the next deck I want to talk about is what actually won the North American International Championships, and that's Inteleon VMAX Rapid Strike Urshifu VMAX. Now this deck took the International Championships by surprise. I mean, a lot of people were thinking that Gardevoir was going to win, or that Mew was going to win because Mew was making a big comeback, but no, it was actually Rapid Strike Box that took home the gold. So what Rapid Strike Box likes to do is it has the Inteleon that you discard a basic 1 energy from your hand and put some damage counters on your opponent's bench. And then for 2 energy, it does 70 plus 70 more if you put an energy card from Inteleon VMAX back into your hand. Pairs very nicely with Rapid Strike Energy, where you can attach for the turn to fulfill both energy costs, and then to do more damage, you just put that energy back into your hand and maybe use a Rapid Strike Urshifu next turn, something like that. But yeah, this deck likes to put damage counters on the field and then use cards like Alakazam to move damage counters around on your opponent's bench and so on and so forth. Use Medicham to come in and maybe take a knockout, and then it's your turn again because Medicham can be a little bit annoying with the Yoga Loop. And then of course the Urshifu VMAX that can hit for a lot of damage and put damage counters, can hit 2 things as long as you don't have Manaphy on the field. So it can be a little bit tricky to pilot. It's probably one of the more trickier decks to actually play right now. But yeah, I think a lot of people are going to be seeing how successful it was at the North American International Championships and are probably playing it for the World Championships this weekend. Another deck that I think is going to do very well is Mew VMAX. Now, when Spiritomb came out, a lot of people were not taking Mew VMAX seriously anymore. But it just seems that, Mew VMAX has thrived in spite of cards like Spiritomb, Drapion V, to, kind of counter the Mew VMAX decks. So now the Mew VMAX decks are playing cards like Meloetta and the Fusion Strike Energy, because if you have a Genesect that has Fusion Strike Energy attached to it, and your opponent has Spiritomb out, Spiritomb says that basic Pokemon V's abilities are none and void. Fusion Strike Energy onto a Genesect. The Fusion Strike Energy says, oh yeah, you don't affect me, so ha. So I can, keep drawing cards for as much Fusion Pokemon in play, and there we go. I'm gonna keep on rolling, and you can't stop me. But yeah, Mew VMAX kind of seems to be a deck that won't go away, even though there's counters out for it. It's going to be very interesting to see how many of these Mew VMAX counters are going to be in people's decks. Are they playing like a 1 Spiritomb, 1 Drapion V? Are they playing 2 Spiritomb? It's going to be quite interesting to see because I think a lot of people might not be prepared for Mew VMAX. But then again, what do I know? I'm not playing in Japan this weekend. I would love to, but I'm not. Maybe I'll go to Worlds next year. And so the last kind of variant of decks I want to talk about is like the Arceus kind of decks. So Arceus you can pair with, there seems to be an unlimited amount of a Pokemon that you can pair with Arceus. Arceus, it goes well with Giratina V-Star. It goes well with Duraludon, Umbreon, Flying Pikachu. There's just a whole, there's many different varieties of the Arceus V-Star deck that you can play and that you will see at the Pokemon World Championships. I think the more popular Arceus build is the pairing with Giratina V-Star. That's been seeing a lot of play, but here and there you'll see the Duraludon, Umbreon player. You'll see it with sometimes a Alolan Vulpix V-Star. the Flying Pikachu, as I said earlier, to counter the Lugia decks. I'll talk about Lugia in a little bit here. But yeah, Arceus, ever since it came out, it was something to be taken very seriously in the standard format. It could put, basic energy cards anywhere on the field when it uses its attack. Also, the ability to search for 2 cards, pretty darn good. So, even though the Giratina build is not my favorite of the Arceus builds, I think you gotta respect it. I think that's probably the best variant of the Arceus deck, so we'll have to wait and see. And like I said a couple seconds ago, there's going to be Lugia V-Star decks that are going to be running around. There's going to be Miraidon EX decks. There's going to be Chien-Pao Excalibur decks. There are going to be a healthy amount of decks at the Pokemon World Championships, so keep your eye on them as well. A certain type of deck that you normally don't see at the Pokemon World Championships are your rogue decks. These are your United Wings decks. These are your Darkrai V-Star decks. There's a lot of fringe decks, rogue decks, however you want to call them, that usually don't make appearances at the World Championships unless this is, Audino, Mega Audino kind of territory where nobody saw it coming, but it made sense for the format. I don't think there's going to be anything like that this year. But usually rogue decks don't do very well because players want to play true tested decks that are going to do very well at the World Championships. And you don't really want to test out a new deck at the World Championships, I wouldn't think, unless you're confident it's going to do well. But again, what do I know? I'm sitting here in front of a camera. Not in Japan. I'm sitting at home. But I'll be watching the World Championships. But then again, I could be wrong. I've been wrong many times before. Heck, Ross Cawthorn played Darkrai V-Star at the North American Internationals, so I don't know, maybe we'll see Darkrai. Maybe we'll see United Wings. Maybe we'll see some kind of weird deck. Maybe we'll see Ting-Lu. I don't know. We'll wait and see. So now with that out of the way, now it's going to come to some predictions. So first up, the deck that I think is going to win the World Championships is sadly Gardevoir EX. I think Gardevoir EX is just too much of a popular pick right now. Gardevoir just seems to be the Pokemon that always wins World Championships whenever it's released. I mean, there's been, 3, 4, 5 different Gardevoir decks that have won World Championships across all the divisions. Maybe even more. But I think I just gotta pick the winning horse here. I think I have to pick Gardevoir. Even though it does pain me a little bit, I think Gardevoir EX is just going to be my pick to win the Masters Division for the World Championships. As far as who I think is going to win the World Championships, I don't know. There are so many great players out there. You got your Alex Szymanskis, you got your Torreklevs, you got your Azul GGs, Garcia Griego. I think I'm pronouncing that correctly. You just got so many great players out there that have been playing for a long time. They know what they're doing. They love this game, and they practice this game a whole lot more than you and me. But literally anybody can win it. As long as you're at the World Championships competing, you have a chance. I'm thinking somebody from Japan. It would be nice to see someone from Japan win the Pokemon World Championships in their country. I think it would be amazing to see. I can't remember the last time we had a world champion from Japan. It seems like a long time because we had, the Dark Ages where we didn't have world championships. So, could be earlier than I think, but hey, it would be nice to see someone from Japan win worlds in their home country. So that'll be my pick to see who wins the world championships. So now here's the big question. Where will Worlds in 2024 be? Well, they've experimented in London. Now they're in Yokohama. So now, where will they go next? So my gut instinct tells me that they're trying to expand Pokemon into different markets. So they brought a Worlds to Europe. They brought Worlds to Asia. So where is next? I have a sneaking suspicion that Pokemon Worlds 2024 is going to be in Melbourne, Australia. Yeah, I'm thinking Australia is getting Worlds next year. I think it makes sense. I think they're spreading Worlds. It was in North America for the longest time. Went to Europe, went to Asia. I'm thinking now Worlds is going down under. Sorry for the accent there, but yeah, Pokemon is going down under. The one big con I do have with Australia hosting Worlds is Australia does kind of seem to be kind of far out there, a little bit hard to get to, but I think it makes sense if that's the goal of Pokemon, to kind of expand Worlds, into the world, not just have it in North America all the time. But yeah, I think Australia does make sense. Unless they want to host in Latin America, but I think that's a little bit hard. Also, I think Australia could be a fun tourist spot for a lot of these competitors that are like, you know what? I've never been to Australia. Let's check out Australia. That's where Worlds is. I think it could be very good for the commute for the country, for people that want to go to Australia. I think it could be a great thing. Having Worlds go to different places in the world, so that it shows Pokemon shows the world that, hey, anybody can get Worlds. It shows them that, hey, we want to expand, outside of North America. We want to expand to different countries around the world, and I think that that's great. Pokemon brings us all together, and that is amazing. So now, let me know what you think. Do you think Gardevoir is going to win the World Championships? Is Worlds going to be in Australia next year, or do you think it's going to be in places like... I was thinking maybe Frankfurt, Germany. I was thinking maybe, Spain could be kind of interesting too. Do you think they're going to bring it back to North America? Bring it to Canada? I mean, who knows? I think last year I said Florida, but I think with the trend that Pokemon is going, they're bringing it to different countries. So I think Australia, to me, makes sense. It seems like a great country, a great opportunity to go explore somewhere different in the world. And it's in Oceania. I mean, big win for them. So that works for me. So let me know what you think. Hit that like button, subscribe, and comment down below. Who's going to win the World Championships, what deck is going to win, and what country Worlds is going to be in. Thank you all very much for watching. I'll see you next time here on Mount Moon TCG.